implement in Africa, because we've seen that a lot in other countries, and now it has arrived in our country. And I believe that someone such as Mr. Ouattara, who has worked for a long time at the International Monetary Fund, which is about 5 minutes from the White House, would be the last person to engage into this type of activity. Only those who have a twisted mind or have some psychological abnormalities will behave in such a way, because no one in the United States will get up in the morning with a group of people heavily harmed to go to the White House and say to Mr. Barack Obama, well, we do not agree with one of your policy, and if we can't get into your government, then we'll make this country hell. It doesn't work that way. It never worked, and it will never work in the United States. And Mr. Ouattara has lived in this country, knows very well what is right, what is not right. And when we go back home, we would like to bring with us the best behavior, the best technology, the best of ourselves. And the fact that Mr. Ouattara has shown consistently desire to get into power in a country that is not his country, but to get into power in a very illegal way, using violent means, is a clear indication of his mental problem that he has presented over many years. These problems caused by Mr. Ouattara started since 1993, when the President Sery-Ble died, and he has not stopped. He has only accumulated threat after threat, and those threats have generated so many social unrest and problems. On top of that, the country has been through the worst environmental pollution ever, killing so many people and compromising the lives of millions of people. I have here a document of 45 pages that I spent many nights to write. It has almost 200 questionnaires that actually outline the things that Mr. Ouattara has done and that will land him to jail. So in light of all these, I'm calling on the cancellation of Mr. Ouattara's candidacy. He is not fit to run for president in Cote-d'Ivoire, is not fit to be a leader at any capacity in Cote-d'Ivoire, and our years of stability, progress, and prosperity shows clearly that we have the manpower necessary to bring the economy of our country to a higher level. I think that the country was going through some problem during President Sery-Ble's era, and for ethnic reasons, he didn't want to just take someone from his region as prime minister. Having been there for over 33 years, this choice of Mr. Ouattara is by no means not an indication of our lack of intellectual manpower. We are very capable family of people in Cote d'Ivoire, a country where cohesion has been a norm. We have a long tradition of peace. Cote d'Ivoire has the biggest basilica in Africa, I believe the second in the world. And all this to say that we are a peaceful, God-fearing people. Mr. Ouattara, in his quest to get into power, went as far as dividing our community, telling the Muslims that it is because he is Muslim that people are against him. And this is not true, because you would have seen that trend for the past 30, 40 years of our lives. So Mr. Ouattara is a troublemaker, he is trouble to our community, he is not a good example to our youth. We need to learn to be taught the best way. The Bible tells us to teach a kid in a way that when they grow up, they will not depart from it. The Bible tells us the Lord is love endure forever, but is also a God of justice, is God of order. And someone of Mr. such as Mr. Ouattara, who has trampled over our dignity and has shown lack of respect for human life, does not have love for mankind in his heart. Mr. Ouattara has trampled the word because he has moved the boundaries that were set by our forefathers. He has violated our Constitution, and without remorse, he has congratulated the rebels, showing clearly that he is a man of blood, a man of violence, and God is not with the wicked. The Bible says that when the wicked rise to power, people flee, which is a clear example of what happened since the advent of Mr. Ouattara. And the Bible tells us that such ways seem right in the eyes of men, but it leads to death. Mr. Ouattara, by trying to force himself into the electoral ballot, has killed so many people, caused the death of so many people, only to satisfy his desire. The list goes on. I say that I have about 200 questionnaires here that will make you throw up, and we don't need that. So I'm calling on the United Nations, calling on the Security Council, I'm calling on the US Congress, the White House, the European Union, the African Union, to do what is right. Mr. Ouattara's candidacy must be cancelled. I have always expressed my reservation and my objection to his candidacy, and letter were sent to many stakeholders. So this is not a new thing, just that despite my position, my cry, we move forward. People in Cote d'Ivoire move forward. But I believe that they are moving forward because they are held captive. People who are suffering from the syndrome of Stockholm cannot defend themselves. They are prisoners. So if you are surrounded by people with weapons, you can't really express your opinion, and you just go with the flow, and which is exactly what's happening in Cote d'Ivoire. People are held hostage. The fact that they get up in the morning to go to work and so forth doesn't mean that they are free. They are free within the limit, but we have lived a free life for many years in Cote d'Ivoire, and we deserve to go back to where we were. I believe, I remember when this started and there were some atrocity that actually took place. I went to Washington, D.C. from Boston to complain to my ambassador, then who told me that he spoke to President Bush, and President Bush told him that that was when he first arrived. Mr. Bush congratulated him for being from Cote d'Ivoire, and he said that Cote d'Ivoire was an exemplary country, and he wished that Cote d'Ivoire becomes an exemplary country again. So this is not new to us, because I know that my country has been an oasis of peace for quite a long time, and I'm very pleased that the American people and the foreigners come to our country and enjoy the peace and everything we have to offer there. But the advent of Mr. Ouattara and the terrorist group is not meant to maintain peace, cohesion, and solidarity in our country. So Mr. Ouattara must be removed from our country for the sake of peace, for the sake of solidarity, for the sake of democracy. I thank you very much, and I'm counting on you for the norm of democracy to be respected in our country, and that what is acceptable in the countries in Europe and the United States also be accepted in our country, and what is banned should be banned also in our country. That we should not allow someone who display so many mental problems and a total lack of moral probity to even run for office, any office. And I'm counting on you for the youth, I'm counting on you for the generations of Ivorian people, I'm counting on you for the generation of African people, because Cote d'Ivoire was a melting pot for many African countries. We are surrounded by Ghana, Burkina Faso, Mali, and Liberia, and we have people from all over the world in our country. And we used to enjoy our peace. We would like to enjoy our peace again. We don't need Mr. Ouattara. Thank you very much.